All right, friends. Our English counterparts are currently on holiday in Oslo.
Or vacation.
They're off on vacation.
Oh my god.
So anyway, we're
This
going
is
to do
Hey,
a...
welcome to Pods and Ends. This is
Junk Drawer,
Bryan
Pop
and
Culture
Shelby.
and Geek
Yes.
Podcast.
We messed that one up. Anyway, let's continue.
Whatever, we'll figure it out. Yeah, Phil and Soph are gone. They're on vacay, far away. So you get just us now. Sorry. Please don't stop listening. Anyway, if you've listened recently, we have been talking about how we've been making our way through Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we have finished. So we're going to discuss that in our main event. But first, without further ado, Shelby, let's drop right in to What's Your Jam? Far out, man. What's your jam?
Grammy, 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 Grammy.
Your jam is your grandma?
No. Wow.
That was really funny to me. Anyway, we just got back from Vegas ourselves in time to watch the Grammys, which I honestly usually hate. I'm not an award show person. I find them stupid, kind of like Drake does.
Wow, okay then.
I mean, you know, we share a lot in common, me and Drizzy.
That's not very true.
We both have beards.
I bet you both like hockey.
True. Yeah.
I don't know
Good
if Drake
point.
likes hockey, but
He's Canadian. I think he has
Canadian.
to.
It's
Yeah.
just like
I don't think he has a
law
choice. Yeah, exactly.
of nature.
Yeah. It's part of their DNA, just like maple syrup.
So what? Wow. So what did you think of the Grammys this year, Bryan?
I don't know. Like I said, I usually don't think much of them. I was early kind of whatever on Alicia Keys as a host, but when she pulled out the two pianos,
Woo.
she should have just done that for an hour and called it the Grammys. That would have been awesome.
I agree. She's fantastic.
Yeah. Some of the performances are cool. Like the mashups they do seem forced.
Really?
I thought...
Havana at the beginning with Ricky Martin.
Oh, I mean, that was fine. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much about Post Malone and Red Hot Chili. The whole time, it
That
just
was
looked
a
to me
strange
like
My favorite
Anthony
joke-
Kiedis just didn't want Post Malone there. Like, it kept showing Post Malone look back at him like they were going to do that, we're best friends and sing on the same mic thing. And Anthony Kiedis was like, nah, I'm going to take my shirt off like I usually do and pretend like you're not here.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I really like awards shows because I enjoy the, I guess, live memeing of things that are happening.
The live tweeting, live social commentary.
Yes, I appreciate that because people are really funny, and I like hearing what the general populace has to say about celebrities or just any sort of event, whether it's the Super Bowl or the Grammys.
We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah.
Right. But seeing, I think, what was it? It was Post Malone is the result of if all of the Red Hot Chili Peppers had a baby.
Yeah, if they raised a child.
If
yeah,
they raised a
It would
child.
turn out to be Post Malone, so yeah. I mean,
I thought that was a good one.
probably not wrong.
No.
Speaking of raising a child, the 9-year-old that introduced Diana Ross was incredible, except for the fact that he flossed when he walked up on stage.
Stop. Stop it. No,
Don't
he was
floss, kids.
adorable.
Yeah, he did a good job, too.
I know.
I don't know a lot
I mean,
of 9-year-olds that can't string a sentence together.
Well,
so.
did you see all of the other people up there trying to present things and they
Well,
could
yeah,
not-
that's true. Yeah, they flubbed their way through
I
it more
know.
than he did. That's a good point.
Yeah, that was a great moment. And Diana Ross' performance. I mean,
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
we got to see Diana Ross and Dolly Parton perform.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it was on TV, but still, cool. Yeah, the performances are the best part. I mean, thanks so much to the Academy and Tony, Frank. Yeah, right, yeah. I thought it was
Wow.
funny where she even mentioned how the Get Off Stage music was coming
Oh, yeah.
earlier and earlier. I don't know. I feel like sometimes the people just make fun of the award show while they're on it, and it makes you think, why haven't you changed this? If
don't know.
everyone makes fun of it, do something different.
But
We'll soldier on.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like the Grammys ended on a meh kind of note.
Well, yeah, because who
Album
likes
of the
country
year?
music, honestly? As I said before, lowest common denominator.
Wow.
Don't care.
Anyway,
Sorry, not sorry.
well, Dolly Parton's amazing.
That's different. Like country music within the last 25 years is just recycled garbage. It's all the same. It's people that have no accent that put it on when they sing, and they just sing about tractors and beer and, I don't know, dumb stuff. Sorry to anyone out there that actually likes country music. It's fine. You do you, like your own thing, but I honestly hate it.
Honestly, I don't know. That album winning over every other album that was nominated.
Yeah, man. And like, she even did the song, and I almost fell asleep. And I was like, well, that's not going to win anything. And then it did.
But best rap album of the year, Cardi B?
I don't really like her either.
I know you don't, but I do. And
I like her better than that, though. Like, I don't really like her at all, and I like her better than
she's the
that.
First female artist to win best rap album of the
year. Yeah, that's
year.
pretty cool.
That's extremely significant.
True. There was a lot of good women stuff and just diversity and inclusion. They even brought it up, like, specifically. So good on them for that.
Absolutely.
And then they gave a white woman the best album. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So what is your jam right now? You know, we've heard what other people's jams are, or at least the Academy's jams.
Oh man, yeah. My jams weren't recognized because I didn't hear J. Cole or Logic mentioned at all. So
what?
Thanks.
I'm asking you what your jam is right now.
My jam is either still Middle Child or Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is up there for me.
That's a bop.
It is a bop. I'm never gonna hear the end of this.
Nope.
I didn't like. Is it Billie Eilish? I don't know how you say her name.
Eilish.
But
Billie
Bury a
raised in
Friend is really growing on
commune.
me. I've been listening to that on repeat at work.
It's weird.
But
I don't dislike it. But I do feel like once we kind of dug into her background, and we're not going to go over it, you can do it yourself. I feel like it might be weird for the sake of weird, and that rubs me the wrong way. But
I still like listening to it.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's a listenable song.
Absolutely. But we listened to a lot of Logic on the way to Vegas.
Yes, and J. Cole. Good stuff.
J. Cole. That's true.
I like rap now. It's weird. I don't even know who I am anymore. So
that's...
With that out of the way, let's head into the locker room.
Listen up, sports fans. It's time for the locker room.
Filling in today for Chad Chatterson. This is Regular Joe.
Regular Joe.
I don't know. Normally Phil is the man in the locker room, but this week, since we brought it up last week, we're going to talk about the most boring Super Bowl ever.
Oh my gosh. That was just a disappointment in every category.
Right? There weren't even good commercials. The
commercials were bleh.
Yeah, the in-game content was good, and that Bud Light commercial with the mountain in it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
But aside from that, I literally could have slept.
I liked the Pepsi commercial.
Is Pepsi okay?
Is Pepsi okay?
It was clever, but I mean, I don't know.
And I mean, that was like about it for me. Halftime show was meh.
Oh yeah. What is it with like Super Bowl halftime shows getting kind of like has-beens?
I don't know.
Or like, not necessarily has-beens, but pseudo has-beens.
Maroon 5 is not a has-been, and Travis Scott is not a has-been.
That was Travis Scott?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Man, you were not paying attention.
Well, I was thinking Maroon 5, and I feel like there has been.
He also needed to take his shirt off, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't want Ms. Jackson to feel left out.
Don't even get me started on that one.
She was the only one.
Oh, boy. All right. We're not going to touch that one. But it was a really boring Super Bowl. Scoring-wise,
the game was boring. Like, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of football anymore. I used to. I used to be a big both college and NFL American football fan. But yeah, no, it's not for me anymore, really. And this was definitely not for me. I honestly could have skipped the game and not
But
cared.
we did have some really good buffalo chicken dip.
That's true. We had a fun
and we hung out with friends.
Together, so pizza, chips, and dip.
The highlight of the Super Bowl was who we were with, not what we were watching.
I just puked in my mouth.
Oh, okay. So that's the locker room, folks.
Yeah, we're going to close up that stinky locker room and open instead the game room. You walk into the game room and immediately take 14 damage. This will be a quick one. There is a card game called Race for the Galaxy. I'm not sure how you'd describe it. It's not really deck building, but it's kind of like deck building. I don't know. I'm not good with the lingo for board games. But anyway, I played it on a field trip to UCLA. I was not supposed to be watching kids, don't worry. I was doing my job perfectly well, thank you. But anyway, I played it and they told me that there is a mobile version, and I am finding that mobile versions of board games are where it's at.
Really?
Yes, because you can like just take your turn and then put it back in your pocket. You could have an ongoing game that lasts like 3 weeks.
I don't think I am patient enough for that.
Oh, see, I like it because sometimes I was doing it with Star Realms too. I'd take like 3 turns and then I'd put it in my pocket and forget about it and then play it like an hour later. It's cool to me. You don't have to carve out that time to get together to play it when you can just take a couple turns and then move on, but the game's still going.
That's true. That way
it's cool.
You know, we have friends in different locations that we definitely
like
like
England,
to play.
For example.
Yeah, that we like to play games with. So we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've already looked into it, but
I already have it.
I should look into that.
It's not easy. Star Realms is easy to figure out on your own, but Race for the Galaxy is fairly complicated. And I have an old phone. My students like to make fun of me because it's tiny. It's the old SE, so it's not big like these cool new phones. So it makes it even harder to see because the screen's smaller. It's more geared toward a tablet, I would think. Something with a larger screen because the text is pretty small. But they always have ways you can like bring the cards up and make them bigger and easier to read. But yeah, they have several board games like Catan, I think Isle of Skye, a bunch of different things. So it's an option for you people out there that keep thinking, I want to get into these board games that they talk about, but I don't know anybody. There you go. Fix it for you.
The only race that I was very interested in this weekend was the mechanical horses in Vegas that you could bet on.
Yeah,
that was weird, but I liked it.
We've been to Vegas a couple times. I've never noticed these before, and it's interesting because it's a game that's made by Konami, who's a video game company, as far as I know, that apparently also makes mechanical, like air quotes, mechanical racing horses. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was like betting on a horse race, but it was these little...
Yeah, it was actually we got pretty into it.
It was fun. I mean, it was one of those things where you look at it because it looks like a little kid's toy, which I'm sure is slightly concerning considering it involves real life money. But anyway...
Yeah, I thought it was neat because I could see them making it and just having the screen, but the fact that they added the little track with the tiny little mechanical horses and stuff on it.
They have the jockeys that move up and down.
And when you bet, they give the horses all names, and the names.
China Mystery.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 that had dragon in them, and I kept going for them. I was basically betting on anything that had dragon or money in the name.
That's true.
And I did pretty well for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I stopped ahead like $2 or something on that. But anyway, yeah, it was oddly fun. Good call on the game room on that one.
Thank you. Well, Vegas is fun because you have to go in thinking, I'm not going to win a bunch of money. I am paying a fee to go be entertained by these games.
Exactly.
And that's what we did, and we had a great time.
And we lost a lot of money.
Well,
in case
not
you didn't
lot.
pick up on that.
Anyway, that's the game room. All of Las Vegas in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, Las Vegas is a giant game room.
That's true.
For adults. I don't know why people bring kids, but that's another
that's a
whole
topic for a different day. Let's go on to Netflix and chill. Netflix and chill.
All right, so last episode we talked all about anime, and anime is terrific.
Got us itching for a new one.
It did. So I think, where did I go? I went somewhere at the grocery store or something, and I came back, and Shelby had like 4 anime for me to pick from.
I was like, pick one of these 4.
Here's your job. We're going to start watching anime. Pick one of these. I don't know why I picked this one. Something about the cover. Oh yeah, it was the main character looks like the main character from Orimo.
That's
just
true.
A little bit. So I picked it based solely on that. But anyway, it's called Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It starts out with this girl like trying to get up her nerve to
confess her love.
Yeah,
for
to ask
someone.
this guy out, or confess her love, whatever.
But what she says is, "I'm your fan."
Right, which is a thing I think societally they say, like, because the smart kids in Japanese schools will have like fan clubs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a blundering thing. Like if one of my kids came up to another one of my kids and said, "I'm your fan," they'd be like, "You're weird. I'm leaving."
That's true.
But
So he thought, well, he gives her an autograph.
right, with someone else's name on it.
And she's very confused. And what she ends up finding out is that he actually writes manga.
Yeah.
And it's one that she has in her room.
Right. She notices the signature looks familiar, and then she digs through her stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh. So
Right. So it's kind of a secret. No one really knows. Actually,
Right.
he's told people and they just don't believe him because it's a monthly girls, like 4 young girls.
right. It's not Shonen Jump. It's it's that's why it's called Monthly Girls. So it's interesting. We don't need to.
It's all about romance and
Yeah,
that sort of thing,
get
which is
in.
funny because he's so dense that he doesn't understand that she likes him.
Right. Yeah. Which is a very common thread in a lot of these.
But it's
Basically what's
Fan-
going on in True Beauty too, which we're not going to talk about
yeah.
without film stuff. But
I
still.
can't. But it's a fantastic show, and we're really enjoying it.
We're
And
what,
there's-
halfway?
I think so, but there's so many squeeze. Just
Yeah.
like,
And it's one of those where they keep adding new characters, and it builds the levels.
it's really funny. It's the romantic comedy
Yeah.
style.
And you find out, 3 or 4 other people are into making comics and doing different parts of the manga process, and
Someone does backgrounds,
Right.
that sort of thing. So it's very cool. Did you have anything else, Brian? Because that's kind of our main focus.
yeah, the only other thing we have is transitioning to the other Netflix intro,
Yeah.
which is our main event, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your main event.
So yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Say the thing, do it.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
At least 65% of the episodes, Shelby would, even if she's not paying attention, she's got her phone up, waiting for the actual episode to start. She would chime in with that part. It got to be a thing. It's very funny for us. So hopefully you feel included.
Growing up watching this show and then rewatching it as an adult, definitely complete opposite feeling of Dragon Ball Z, where
Oh, geez. Yeah.
I know watching that as an adult made me question how intelligent I was as a child. But watching Avatar kind of redeemed it for myself.
Your childhood.
Yeah, it
redeemed your childhood.
My whole entire
It didn't
childhood.
ruin it like Star Wars did.
That's true. Considering Star Wars was not even in my childhood.
Right. Well, Avatar wasn't in mine. So tell me what you thought you were going to get out of this watching it again versus what I will regale you with getting out of it.
From what I remembered was it's a really impactful story that is heartfelt at moments and really goofy in others. And that's what I remembered.
It's pretty on point.
And that it's a great story. And I
Yes.
remembered how much I loved Zuko.
Yes, he's the best character.
He really is.
We'll get to that later. So overall impressions, story impressions, pace, length, ending. What do you think?
I feel like it really is kind of that perfect length. It
Yeah.
is long enough that it ran on TV for enough time that kids could stay interested, and it was significant enough that it would be on that you would go back and watch it from the beginning. And I think that the way they broke it up into the different seasons was extremely smart.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And it was one of those things where at the very beginning, they told you how it was going to end. The Avatar has to fight the Fire Lord to end this struggle with the people of the different elements, the nations. So, and as the story went on, they gave you timelines. They had to do it before this comet, or the comet was going to make the Fire Lord so powerful that he'd just take over everybody and be too late. So it wasn't one of those things that they could keep pushing back, oh, the Fire Lord wants to take over. Oh, we stopped him again, guys, but we have to keep it up because he's going to try again next week on Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, it wasn't one of those things. It had an actual arc to it, and they gave you it at the beginning. I like
Multiple arcs.
that.
I mean,
Well,
there
yeah,
was-
it had multiple arcs, but it had the end game arc, and it told you basically at the beginning, like like the part that you would refer to in the opening. Like every time you watch the show, you're reminded of what the show is about.
Mhm.
And where it's going. And
Yeah.
I thought that was good because it's so often there is no overall arc, especially with, quote unquote kids shows.
Right. It's
They're
just
like one-off episodes.
one-off episodes with some short stories because you have at least a season to go through and they have no idea where it's going to go. It's just until they stop funding it.
Right, exactly.
So this
it
one
goes
had-
until the wheels come off.
Exactly. Avatar, at the beginning, what does he need to do? Restore peace to the world.
Mm-hmm. Balance all those elements.
Absolutely. Water, earth, fire.
Heart. Oh, nope. Sorry, wrong show.
With our powers combined,
Yeah, exactly.
we make Avatar State.
Oh, man.
Ooh, deep cuts,
let's
deep
not
cuts.
rewatch that because I bet that's really, really
I bet
bad.
it-
I don't remember it being very good like when I was a kid.
Mhm.
So I can't imagine it's any good at all.
Things that didn't age well. Thundercats.
Right. Oh, all that stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I can't even.
Bummer.
Can't
But
even
this
imagine
aged
how bad
well.
Captain Planet is.
This was, and that's part of the reason why it was so popular, is because it was a good story. And
Right. And
I think anything that parents can watch with their kids
that's what I was going
and
to say.
also
It works on
enjoy.
all levels. Yeah, exactly. Because you see that in movies all the time. There are jokes in almost every kid's movie that are for the adults, but you don't see it in TV shows very often. And you have to ask yourself, especially for younger kids, the parents are watching this with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, because if you didn't...
ad nauseum sometimes. Like, think of Paw Patrol.
Oh, my goodness.
My nephew watches Paw Patrol 28 hours a day. I don't know how he does it. He watches it more than there's time in the day. It's magic. But anyway, you would think that they would try to put something in there.
To make it interesting enough for the adults so they don't
For-
lose
yeah.
their minds.
Right, exactly. Something besides clever theme songs that they end up humming to themselves later. But anyway, yeah, back to Avatar. Great story. I thought the pace was good. The beginning of it is very much a kid's show. Not even the first season, the first half of the first season. It's getting to learn your characters. It's exposition. But, it's necessary, but it's also very sort of kid-centric, more so than the show at large, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to take its turn and definitely get more grown up as it grows up with the kids that are watching it, I would assume.
Absolutely. I also appreciate Avatar because it trusts that kids can handle a storyline like that and can pay attention and understand the complex emotions and feelings and themes behind each episode and arc, and how it really goes out on a ledge that a lot of kids shows don't do, because they assume that kids can't handle a story like that.
Well, and it goes places you don't think it's going to go. Like, there are a couple different times where you think, oh, okay, well, this is where they defeat so-and-so, and this is where so-and-so is going to turn, and then they don't do it. Like, Aang goes into the Avatar state and is going to go Super Saiyan Pone mode, and then gets shot in the back and he's done. And you're like, what? He didn't win?
Mm-hmm.
And then you think Zuko is going to turn and become part of the good guys, and he ends up siding with his terrible, terrible sister and turning against his uncle, who has been his only,
Friend,
like,
and
the only
father
person in his corner
person
this
in
whole time.
his family other than his mother. And when you have Azula's friends turn on her,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that coming at
Never
all.
saw that coming.
Especially, like, when they had May turn on her because she had feelings for Zuko despite his treachery,
Mhm.
so to speak.
That was one thing.
Yeah, but then to have the cool, like, nerve punch girl whose name I can't remember.
I know, I can't remember her name either. Circus Girl.
Yeah, Circus Girl, that's a good one. But to have her turn was surprising, but it also made sense because she wasn't going to let Azula take out May because apparently she's better friends with her and supported what she was doing more than Azula's craziness.
Mm-hmm. Which was an interesting choice, but I appreciated it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when it was happening, her sort of descent into madness, it seemed abrupt. But then when you go back through some of the episodes, she's building toward that. She's just handling it really well.
Well, she has zero coping skills.
Well, yeah, because she hasn't needed any.
Right, exactly. She's never been challenged the way Zuko has. And that's why she fails. It's because she has never had to struggle and learn and really get over herself. And
yeah, that's what Zuko was trying to do the whole first bit of the show, was get over himself. And like, I just love how his uncle is there patiently waiting. Because I think he knows the whole time that, and that's why he went with him.
Absolutely.
That and,
well, think about why
they were
Zuko
both
was
filling
sent
a
out.
void for each other. Like,
Why was Zuko sent out? Because he cared enough about soldiers' lives.
yeah, for speaking up, essentially. Yeah.
Well, for speaking up. And why did he speak up? Because he knew what was right. And his uncle sympathized with that. And his uncle needed him. I mean, in the sense of he lost his son.
Right, that's what I was saying. They both filled voids for each other. He was Zuko's father figure, where Zuko was Iroh's like surrogate son, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So they had that created the bond, and then it went on from there. And when Iroh left the show, well, not left the show, but like kind of became less of a character because he wasn't the sidekick for Zuko anymore. That was a bummer.
It was hard.
But he came back in like the best way.
I know. There's so many themes in this show.
Oh, yeah.
And so many lessons that kids learn. I mean, they learn a lot about forgiveness and a lot about how people can change when they have that desire to.
Well, and think about just the age diversity they include, because Aang and company are the young kids that most kid shows put up front because, they assume that kids can only connect with their own demographic. But then you have Zuko, who is older. You have Iroh, and then all the Lotus.
Don't you know all old people know each other?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And the connection that Aang has to older people because he was frozen
technically
in ice for 100 years.
Yeah, he just didn't age. He's very, very old himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. But he's like old but young at heart, but also young at body. Mm-hmm. Interesting. But yeah, I just thought these writers are very deft at taking things like this and building it into the story without hitting you on the head with it. Because they're the same people that did Dragon Prince. And Dragon Prince has like stepbrothers, interracial relationships.
Differently abled.
Yeah, it's just got, oh man, it's so good. But they don't make a big deal out of any of it. They just put it in there and it's like, this is what exists in our story. And it doesn't matter because it's perfect. It fits, so good. And I think they did a lot of that with Avatar too, but you don't even notice it. And that's the beauty of it, because you shouldn't. It should just it should reflect life, right? Even though it's talking about these people that use magic essentially to control elements.
Toph is just incredible.
Yeah, all right. That's a very good example.
And because it shows that what some people would view as a hindrance in life is what makes her so incredible at being an earthbender.
Right, exactly. Like I don't know, it's almost like the whole Obi-Wan thing. Your eyes can deceive you, don't trust them.
Oh.
She doesn't at all because she can't. She sees with her feet. And that's such a cool way to have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because, I don't know, like they make a lot of cheesy blind jokes, but I don't know.
She goes, I don't know. Books don't really do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Like little one-liners like that where if you're not paying attention, you don't really get it. But I think it's funny because it kind of lends you to this idea that the characters forget she's blind. Mm-hmm. And you do too.
Yeah.
Because
Why is she not going to the library?
Yeah, they don't hit you over the head with, look, we included someone that's blind. Aren't we great?
You don't have her doing this long exposition about, I just wish I could see.
Right. Yes, exactly. It's just, she's fine with it and that's who she is. And it's great.
Her personality is so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The way that, the character creation. So let's talk about characters.
Let's do it. Let's roll into it.
The character creation in this show is next level.
Yeah,
and the
good.
Development that they put each character on, those different journeys, different arcs, I'm continuously surprised and excited about them throughout the series.
Yep. And like they have character development without it feeling forced or filler. There were filler episodes, so I'm not going to be like oh, there's no such thing as filler in this. Like the one where they go watch the play about what's happened to them so far.
The canyon was like the
Oh,
worst.
the canyon just wasn't that good of an episode.
Right. And I don't even think that was filler. But
No,
the
it had like merit toward the end,
Mhm.
but it just took a long winding road to get there. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
the play
the
was
play was just too funny.
it was too funny, and it was a good at that point. It was a good kind of catch you up.
Well, yeah, it was basically like a clip show to remind you of everything that had happened without, I don't know, it was a cheesy way to do it, but it was like a viable cheesy way to do it, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So, yeah, filler can exist for good reason in shows. It just doesn't in some shows I've mentioned before that I won't mention again.
So who's your favorite character?
Oh, come on, Zuko, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
He was from like, even when he was a bad guy, like
Yeah.
when he was
He's a much better Kylo Ren than Kylo Ren.
He is a better Kylo Ren than Kylo Ren, 100%. Kylo Ren
he has a reason
no
to hate
motivation.
his father.
None. Kylo Ren has zero motivation other than we needed a bad guy and we wanted to add
Yeah,
him to the
I mean that's just
Skywalker
how we
lineage.
feel about
But
it. And if
yeah,
you feel
right.
differently,
Good for you. A
That's-
lot of people love him. Great. But
Right.
Zuko's better.
he's a
Watch
better
Avatar.
he's a better fallen hero. He's a better fallen hero, and he then becomes a hero, and he really earns that redemption.
Well, yeah, and
multiple times he has to.
it's
earn
a
it.
backward thing where he's being groomed to be the bad guy. And at the beginning, that's what he wants more than anything. He wants to regain his honor and sit at his father's side and be the next supreme ruler of the nations because fire is greater than all, etc. That is what he wants more than anything. Or what he thinks he wants more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then as his character progresses, we find out that's not really what he wants at all. And I think Iroh knows that's never really what he wanted.
I think that he goes through a journey that is more about balance and equality of all of the elements, at least equivalent to Aang.
Well, it's a different thing though, because Aang is got that feeling of being forced to do it, where Zuko does it because he knows it's the right thing to do. After all he's gone through, where Aang is just like, I'm the Avatar, this is what I have to do. I mean, I think Aang's a good guy and he wants to do what's right.
Well, and it's also hard for him because he's having this inner struggle of how do I be the hero when really my internal sense of what is right is to be more like the monks of the air temple, which is very
that's
pacifist.
That's something he struggles with toward the end, which gets to a decent segue to one of the strangest parts of the show, where it was cool. I loved the inclusion of, like, I think it's a Native American myth with the turtle with the world on his back.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and he randomly finds this turtle and like speaks to it and helps him
Talk to other previous avatars.
Yeah, it helps him find out what he needs to know. But I don't know, that was really weird.
Yeah. So still, your favorite character is Zuko.
Yeah.
I think Zuko's my favorite, but Iroh is...
Yeah, it's hard not to love him.
Well, you get so much development from him, too.
Well, and so much of Zuko's character depends on Iroh.
I
So
think that's right. Because
that's
most
part
of
of
those
why.
powerful moments, some of my favorite moments of the show, involve both of them together.
yes. I love when he almost decides to settle down and like just be the tea shop guy with Iroh and make that life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he had actually really bought into it.
Yes.
But I think Iroh knew deep down that that's not what it was going to be.
No.
Also,
And Iroh's just so patient throughout this whole thing.
patient enough to get super buff in that cell.
Right.
Boy.
That was amazing.
That was.
That was really amazing.
That was jaw droppy. He took the
Yeah.
little pillow out so he didn't have the belly pudge
I know.
anymore. It's just like Batman Begins getting buff in the cell.
Oh my gosh. Well, he's so kind in his heart after, and you can see that really the catalyst for all of it was his son dying.
Yeah, I mean,
Because, I mean, he was very all in on the Fire Nation.
right. He was.
Before it. And you hear it whenever you go into those flashbacks and you hear him talking about Ba Sing Se and
Mhm.
sending things back about conquering. And then after his son dies, he's a very different person. Very different person. And then he kind of goes on his whole journey, which I wish that would be an amazing spinoff to see just like a one series, maybe 8 episodes of him going through and becoming part of the White Lotus.
Yeah. Like before, like how he became part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would watch an Iroh spinoff. That's for sure.
I feel like that would be not beating a dead horse, and it's been long enough.
Yeah. What did you think, speaking of, like, we've talked about how we think the length was good, but I actually was disappointed when the series ended and Zuko gets no closure with his mother.
I was disappointed with that. I read that there was a comic that came out, which I'm tempted to read now, but I'm afraid it won't be as good, that closes that loop.
It would depend on who wrote it and things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a little disappointed with that, but also...
I thought
do
it
we
was a
need it?
strange choice because...
Well, they make mention of it at the end.
Right, but then they left it open-ended. I thought for sure that they were going to close that off, but they didn't. And it's weird because it's a main motivating factor for Zuko throughout the series, is like that is basically where he gets his goodness from. If not for his mother, he would be the evil male version of Azula.
Right.
So I thought it's one of those rare instances where they opened a door and they just left it. Like, not even... There are a lot of things that...
You don't need answers to everything.
Yeah, well, like, exactly. They'll open a window and they'll let you see something outside, but you can't really see it. This time, they, like, opened the door and invited you in. And the last minute, they were like, closed. Sorry.
That's true.
So it was kind of the opposite of that. You don't have to leave every stone unturned, but you overturn this stone and then, like, wouldn't let me see under it. Don't do that.
So what was a top at least 2 episodes? If you have a number 1, go ahead with that.
Oh, Zuko alone, 100%.
See, I'm torn between Zuko alone and I forget what it's called. It's the one where they go and find the ancient Fire Nation tribe.
Oh,
With the
old
dragons.
masters.
Yes.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that's a good one.
That one's really powerful for me.
Well, yeah, because it shows you, up until this point, you think that all Fire Nation people are evil.
Mhm.
That for whatever
And that
reason.
they always have been.
Yeah, the Fire Nation.
Well, it lost its way.
Yeah, exactly. Like the 100 years
Mhm.
point,
Mhm.
they got power hungry, as evil leaders tend to do. And then 100 years later, you've evolved into an entire society of power hungry people, except for this one portion that's still doing things the old fashioned way. And again, that's another pretty good lesson. Again, focusing on that whole idea of elders.
Mm-hmm. And remember, Iroh also, they said that he was the one who last killed a dragon.
Right.
But really, he went and obtained that enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as Iroh does.
I know. He's like the sleeper character of just, he's so amazing.
And I think that is probably something. Do you remember him being a big deal when you were little watching it?
Not
Or
as
younger?
much. No,
Yeah,
I don't.
see? I think his entire character is so much for an older audience.
I agree. I noticed him a lot
Because
more.
I bet, like, he plays as that goofy uncle,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're a younger kid watching this, and you probably think he's like the comic relief. Like, oh, ha ha ha, he was doing pull-ups and he had a
Mm-hmm.
pillow in his fat part. Ha ha. Silly Iroh. But yeah, that's, I don't know, so good. Good story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. It works, again, on several levels. It's really good. And again, to bring up Dragon Prince, which is really why I was excited to watch this, because I love that show. The second season of that's coming out. And I just, based on the way Avatar moved forward and got older and got to be a more cohesive story,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to the second season of
Dragon Prince. Well, when you told me that you saw this show, Dragon Prince, and you really wanted me to watch it, I was like, oh, okay. Then you said it was from the creators of Avatar, and I was sold immediately. I knew it had to be good. I'm really excited for that. And then we're also going to start watching Korra.
Yeah.
Legend of Korra.
Which
So-
I know nothing about, aside that it's in the
I don't
same
either.
universe.
I don't know
is
anything
it
about
before,
it.
after? No idea.
I believe it's after, but I
Okay.
have no idea.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
excited.
at all.
From people I know who love Avatar, they say Legend of Korra is better.
Well, I've heard
Which is-
Legend of Korra
which
is
blows my
for
mind.
older people that grew up liking Avatar.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I've heard that several times. But then, of course, we do have our one friend that said Korra is not as good. So
Oh, true.
just keeps our hopes from getting too high, which is good. We've talked on multiple podcasts about how keeping your expectations in check is a great
Mm-hmm.
thing for any sort of
So what else? What other themes or observations that you had about this show?
I think the main thing that we already discussed is just it's really impressive how it had an idea of what it was going to do, not just like a vague idea. You know, it told you exactly how this show was going to go. And then it even, like I said with the whole comment, you know, the whole idea, if you don't know, I mean, I hope you do know, because if you're listening to this and you don't know, you're getting spoiled, and that's bad. But anyway, the comet was going to enhance the Fire Nation's ability to do their elemental magic.
Mm-hmm.
So if they didn't confront the Fire Lord before this, they would be unstoppable.
The whole world would be destroyed.
Right. So it not only told you how the story was going to progress, but it gave you like an
Ticking
end point.
Time bomb.
Yeah, like it has
Literally.
to be done. And you could feel that in the show. Like the sense of urgency grew exponentially throughout each season, where once you get to the whole fire season,
Which
oh
was
my gosh.
brilliant. Which was brilliant to name the seasons after the different elements.
Yeah, I thought that was good. It was very thematic. It kept it. It wasn't just season 1, 2, 3. It really engaged every part of the storytelling was there. But yeah, so good.
I know. And to have Aang have his support system,
Mm-hmm.
having a hero that absolutely would never have been successful if it weren't for his friends, whether they have these superpowers or not.
Right. And
Sokka was one of the
he's so
actually
close
that
to
might
being
that might be my
he's so close to being
that
my
episode.
favorite character.
His Sokka gets a master, or
Oh yeah,
that-
see, and that one is kind of like filler.
it's almost filler, but it's not.
But it's only filler if you don't understand how Sokka is, and he even says he's surrounded by these people with these special powers. The two benders and the Avatar, who's like the ultimate bender. And here's Sokka, dude with boomerang and good jokes.
Who never went off to war to fight, never had his dad around when he was growing up.
And I think that's important too, that the whole idea that they use that we don't have parents trope that so many kids shows use, but then they find dad and things are cool.
Well, but not immediately.
Right. Well, yeah, that's part of
I mean, it gets into all these different complex emotions that are not usually addressed in children's shows.
True.
Which I think is so significant because it helps kids to see that you can, yeah, your dad showed up and you're excited to see them at first, but there's a lot of complex emotions under that, and it's okay to express them and talk about them and work through them.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, we don't have children, but if we did, I would want them to watch this show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think we'll introduce Rocco, the nephew, to it for sure.
Yes.
And I would recommend it to all of my kids. Like,
well, I think it's
student
so
kids.
powerful. It's so impactful. I think it's a great teaching tool for a lot of really good lessons.
Right, and it's so good, and especially
And for adults too.
Well, again, with the parents there, if you go through it and you debrief and you talk about it, you don't have to make it like academic like we do when we read novels or anything like that. But if you just talk about what you watched and why you might like it and what, challenge those, why do you think the character did this type thing?
Mm-hmm.
Get them thinking. Like,
I think that's what's
there's stuff
missing.
out there your kids can watch that's not just brain dead television. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. I think that's what society is lacking a lot anymore as well, is, okay, you consume this pop culture thing, whether it's a movie, a show, a book, music, but people don't have the conversation afterward that art inspires.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go to a museum to go and talk about art. You can talk about anything and have in-depth conversations that help you build relationships with the people around you and get to know other people better and expand your horizons.
Well, that's the whole idea of people. We were talking about this weekend going to a movie alone. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind seeing a movie by myself. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But I prefer to go with people because after the movie's over, I have to engage. What did you think?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice this? What did you think about this? That's almost my favorite part of going to the
It's
movies.
the human connection.
Is just talking about it afterward.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's to say, God, that was really bad. It was bad for these reasons. That's okay too. Like, It doesn't have to be good for you to have that conversation.
And Avatar really inspires a lot of conversations, not just about the show itself, but the themes that it introduces.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much going on. And I'm sure there's things that I wanted to talk about that I've forgotten because I didn't write down very much, but such is life. Oh, one thing I do want to talk about that has really nothing to do with the story, but I love how the world is populated with these like hybrid animals.
Oh my goodness.
Like every creature is something and something. Like the platypus bear, oh my
terrifying.
God.
Terrifying.
I even posted on Instagram like this great fan art of an owl bear from Dungeons and Dragons or from, fantasy lore in general, and how it's a cool, scary creature. And then you look at the platypus bear and it's just like
frightening.
The owl bear would run from this thing. Like, period.
Some of those things, gosh, there was one that was it's like a salamander and something that would run across.
All the things those dudes ride?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was scary. And the one that was like a mole.
That the bounty hunter had.
Yes.
It was like, it had that starfish mole nose, and then it was also a lizard.
Oh my gosh.
And she rode it, and it could like sniff out people, and it was amazing.
So many.
But then like
strange.
the lemur bat, Momo.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific.
Appa, the flying
buffalo. Oh, too good. 6-legged flying
buffalo.
buffalo.
Well,
with a flat beaver-like tail that was furry.
Oxen. Yeah.
So good. Such a cool little, like, I don't know.
And there's so many tidbits.
Yeah.
World building, obviously, is...
Well, yeah, and like the way that cabbage joke
goes
like literally all the way through. Even to that filler episode we were talking about, because whoever wrote the play based on all the characters' lives, essentially based on the story so far, they say was given by lots of first-hand accounts, and then one
and the
particularly like
tales
knowledgeable
of a cabbage
salesman,
which was, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Too funny.
Fantastic. So, if you haven't seen Avatar, highly recommend it.
Yeah, by now, if you don't want to go watch it, I mean, come on.
And hard sell.
Yeah, we can't talk it up enough. Sure, we often really enjoy things.
But this...
Because we're not super... I'm actually super hard to please, so if I like this, you should just know that it's good.
Wow. All right, on that note, as always, you can find us on Twitter at PNE_pod.
You can hit us up at that same handle on Instagram as well, right, which we actually use more than Twitter nowadays. Instagram's much better. Switch over, everyone. Twitter is for the poo-poo.
What?
But anyway.
Okay, whatever. Our website?
Our website is www.podsandends.com. And you can hit us up via email if you want to get that secure, non-public communication. contact@podsandends.com.
Again, we always appreciate your reviews. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode.
Yeah,
on whatever
the old handles are going away.
Yeah, the old handles are going away very, very soon. So make sure you're listening on the Pods and Ends streams on whatever podcatcher you are listening through.
We should be out there for all of them. If you can't find us, let us know. We'll make sure we
you
figure
can
it out
somehow. All right. Hopefully Phil and Soph will be back next week.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Go watch Avatar. Yip, yip.
Yip, yip.